Hey y'all, welcome to my craft shed. Today I'm going to be making a stacked pumpkin snowman out of these 3 pumpkins from Dollar Tree. I'm starting by removing the leaves and the hangers from the pieces. Now I'm peeling off any of the label that will come off and sanding down the rest just to get a good smooth surface. You want it real smooth where you're trying to paint it. Now I'm cutting off the stem of 2 of the pumpkins, and I'll sand that down smooth. That's the parts that will be covered anyway. But since I'm painting both sides, I don't need the stems. If you were not painting both sides, you could just leave the stems overlapped. But since I am going to be painting both sides, I'll leave the stem on the top one. And then on the one side I'm going to paint them like pumpkins, the other side I'm going to paint it like a snowman. I'm using E6000 to glue them together because that's really what's going to give me a good strong hold. If you were somewhere where it's never going to be too warm, where you have it stored, you could probably get by with just the hot glue. I'm using the hot glue just to hold it in place until the E6000 sets up. Now I'm filling in the holes with spackling where the cords were on all 3 of the pumpkins because I won't be needing that. And then I'll be filling in on the other side with this spackling too. Right now I'm just reinforcing where they're put together and filling it in a little. I'm going to put the spackling along those same edges there just to smooth it all out and make a more even surface. Then I have to let that dry and set up for a while. Make sure you smooth it out really good. And once it's completely dried, I do sand it and smooth it out really good. Now I'm painting one of the pumpkins in, I believe that's called clay pot for my orange pumpkin. And that one is mineral chalk paint for my top pumpkin. And I do believe this green was called Dusty Green. This is just my base coat. I'm leaving the base coat a little darker so those other colors won't bleed through so bad. Then for the second coat, I'll be mixing it with a blue color to make a lighter blue-green. I think it's called Paradise is what I mix it with. Now I'm just doing second coats. Make sure everything's covered really good, a good nice coat. And there's my old hairdryer that I dry my paint with. I've had that thing for more years than I can count, and it's still going strong. Now I use it just strictly for drying paint. And that is a brown chalk paint. I forget the name of it, but it's just brown for the stem. And now I'm using it to dry brush around the edges for some detailing on my pumpkins. And I'm putting in the lines for my pumpkins, making them rounded to simulate like a real line would be on a real pumpkin. And this one I mixed some orange into the brown, so it's more of a orangey brown color that would match that pumpkin better. And just doing the same thing again. And now I mix some darker green in, so I can do the same thing on the green pumpkin. Now I'm sanding it all down to blend everything together good. It just sort of makes everything just flow together good and not look so stark, I guess. Makes your colors mix together good. It doesn't look so fresh. A little more worn of a look. Now I'm putting E6000 on some of the Dollar Tree metal words. This is the fall pack. This is harvest and welcome and thankful. You can use hot glue, but again, it just depends on where you live. Where I live, I'd go back out to get them out of storage and the letters would be falling back off if I used hot glue. So I'm using E6000. I'm putting it on each one and letting it sit just for a few minutes. And now I'm putting them on the pumpkins. Now I'm starting on the back side for the snowman. And I think that color was called tapioca. It's a folk art color. And it takes several coats to get all that brown covered up. Now I'm just penciling in my snowman's face, drawing out how I want it to look and how I want his toboggan to look. Around the top of his head will be a toboggan, which I've been told is us Southerners call them toboggans and that people up north just call them hats. So it's either his toboggan or his hat, depending on where you're from. I've base coated it in a white, but I'm not going to leave it white. I'm just filling in the details that I drew in. I'm painting them in with white of his eyes and the clay pot color on his nose for a carrot. Now I'm doing his mouth. Gave him a squiggly smile. You could get it from a regular smile or whatever kind of look you want to give yours. And I'm outlining his eyes with black. Now I've gotten the blue part of his eyes in, and I put on some eyelashes, but I will go back later and paint over them because I decided I didn't like it. I thought it looked like spiders on his eyes. Now I'm painting in his arms, his stick arms. And now I've filled in all the white with black. I had originally painted his toboggan to look like buffalo check, but then I decided that it was just too busy. It was just too much. So I went back over it, and I'm just doing some light detailing to it. And he's going to have a little white rim on it. Now I'm taking a plaque that's just one of the regular unfinished wood plaques from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting it in the mineral color chalk paint. While it dries, I'm filling in some details on his edge of his hat. Now up there on that stem, I'm going to cover that with a piece of felt for a little top to his hat. You could use a pom-pom. I just didn't have a big pom-pom handy, so I'm using white felt that I'll put up there to cover up the stem. And that will be the top of his toboggan. Just put more detailing on his toboggan. Now I'm writing in what I want the plaque to say. Like I've said in previous videos, for me, just freehanding it is easier. You could also use stick-on letters, or you could print out the words on a piece of paper and use graphite paper to transfer it onto the wood. I also drew in some fingers for him, some little stick fingers for him, and now I'm painting those in. I made sure to go around the edge so it looks like his hands are there. Now I'm just painting over where I drew in the words with black paint. I'm having him hold a little sign that says there's no place like home. Just putting a little bit of detailing in his eye, a little sparkle in his eye. Now I'm taking some of the tumbling tower block things from Dollar Tree, and I'm building him a base. I'm also going to use 2 jumbo craft sticks, and I'm again using the E6000. After doing this, it really would have been about as easy just to cut a piece of wood for his stand. But I was trying to do it with just strictly Dollar Tree stuff. Now I'm putting the craft sticks over the top just so that there's a smooth top, just to make it look prettier and to help hold everything together. I'm weighting it down so that those craft sticks adhere good. Now I've put a border around that sign with red, and I was erasing any pencil marks that was left. And now I'm going around the words with some white just to highlight them a little, just to make them pop out a little better and look easier to read. I don't know where the footage went where I was painting the little border around the edge. I could have lost it when my computer crashed, but I did do that in red. And it's just a little dashed border. I took red and white and mixed together to make him some pink for his cheeks. Now I'm just sanding everything down, roughing it up a little bit, make it a little more rustic. I did switch sandpaper so that the black and the stronger colors didn't bleed into my tapioca color of his body. Now I'm wiping all the dust up so it don't smear onto anything. Just a little bit of sanding on his cheeks. Now I'm sanding and roughing up the sign so that it's a little more rustic. I'm using E6000 to put it on him. I'll put some hot glue on there just to hold it until the E6000 sets up. And I position it right in line with his arm so it looks like his hands are holding it. And I weighted it down. Now I'm roughing up and sanding on the other side where the pumpkins are so they look a little more rough and rustic. If you didn't have the metal words, you could paint those words on or use a Cricut or Silhouette to cut you out some words if you had to. Now I got this glitter paint that I have just hundreds of bottles of that I'm putting on the toboggan top. You can get a type of glitter paint at the craft stores. That's just one that I had. You can also get Mod Podge that has glitter in it. Now I'm just staining down the pumpkins, giving them a nice coat of stain and make it more rustic like I like. That's a water-based stain. I think it's Duncan. So I don't leave it on very long. That's why I'm doing each section by itself. You can use any stain you want, but the water-based ones do tend to soak in real fast. Now I'm using some buffalo check ribbon to make him a scarf. Since he's only a snowman on one side, I am trying to keep it from wrapping around in front of the pumpkins. So you don't want your scarf over there in front of the pumpkins. Now the little ball for his hat is dry. I'm putting it in place. I may go back later when I have a big pom-pom and put it there. I just didn't have one, and that was a snowflake from Dollar Tree. One of the stick-on snowflakes. And some pine cones and fall leaves on the pumpkins. Now I'm staining the stand with the same Duncan water-based stain. That's snow accents. It's a textured paint that looks like snow. And I'm putting it on one side of the stand, the side that will be in front of the snowman. And there's some E6000 and a little bit of hot glue to hold him in place until that sits up. I'm putting him on the base, but he's very top heavy for this little small base, which again is why I would have probably, to do it again, I would have went and had a regular wooden base made. I added some extra blocks on either side just to help hold him, and that's why I'm putting the snow paint over that and covering it. Now I'm putting the greenery on. I think that greenery came off of an ornament that I used in a different project. And that is like iced looking berries. I think I got those at Hobby Lobby. I'm cutting them off and adding them on with some pine cones. And that is a tiny rusty star garland that I got in the section at Hobby Lobby where all the little miniature tree ornaments are. And I'm cutting one star off and I'm gluing that to his sign. On this side I'm going to do Spanish moss on the base. And some fall leaves and pine cones. I was also going to put some acorns on and then realized I didn't have them in there at my painting desk. So I'm going ahead and putting the leaves on. And that's some little holly leaves with some pine cones and some more of the iced berries. Now I'm putting some of the glitter paint on the snow and touching around on the pine cones. And again, you can get a similar kind of glitter paint at AC Moore or Hobby Lobby. I just had a lot of those. Now I went and found my acorns at my other desk, and I'm gluing some of them on. And there they are. And there's the finished piece in place in the house. It's all done. And I hope you're able to make you a snowman pumpkin stack. It took 3 of those pumpkins, 1 pack of the words, or you can print out your own words and cut them out, or use some graphite paper and transfer them and paint them in. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. And I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time. Bye.